Good evening, this is Yes I Am James, and today I shall be dissecting the Schrodinger's rapist post, which has been making its rounds around the internet as of late. Now, it has been suggested many times that us MRAs are simply old-fashioned and just want women to go back to the kitchen. I can categorically say that this is completely false. Now, yes, it does admittedly anger me somewhat that my kitchen does remain suspiciously womanless, but that is a personal thing. I would not say that that is the view of the MRM as a whole. So let's get on with today's topic. Now, I will of course be linking down below in the description box to the original post, so you may load that up now and follow along if you will. Guest blogger Starling. Yes, Starling. I thought that said Stalin for a second, but no, it is in fact Starling. I do not see much difference with these Marxists, but let's carry on. Schrodinger's Rapist, or a Guy's Guide to Approaching Strange Women Without Being Maced. Now, society tells men not to get maced. It does not teach women not to mace. This I do see as a bit of a problem, for this will also fall under the category of victim blaming. So, Phaedra Starling is the pen name of a romantic novelist and a licensed private investigator living in small New York City apartments with two large dogs. Now, I assume that she's talking about her husband and her son there, as she does seem to think that men should be treated like animals. She practices Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and makes world-class apricot muffins. I find it funny that she is also a romance novelist, and I would not like to read those novels based on what else she says in this article. In fact, what I shall do, dear viewers, is I shall ask you to make video responses to me, making small mini romance novels based on how you would expect this woman to write. So, gentlemen, thanks for reading. Let me start out by assuring you that I understand you're a good sort of person. So, she assumes we're all good people reading this, but as you'll find out later, she does not extend that to other random people who she sees on the street. You are kind to children and animals. You respect the elderly. Well, no, I do not respect the elderly. I see respect as something which should be earned. And I'm going to stop this accent now before it goes Indian. Okay, so let's go back to reading this normally. But no, I do not respect the elderly. I see respect as something which has to be earned. I think we should treat each other with respect until someone gives us reason to not do otherwise. But I'm not going to automatically give someone respect just because they have somehow managed to avoid dying for 70 plus years. I haven't even got past the first paragraph yet, and this is already 4 minutes long. So let's get on with it. You respect the elderly, you donate to charity, you tell jokes without laughing at your own punchlines, you respect women. You like women. In fact, you would really like to have a mutually respectful and loving sexual relationship with a woman. Unfortunately, you do not yet know this woman. How do you know? She isn't working with you, nor have you been introduced through mutual friends or drawn into the same activities, so you must look further afield to encounter her. So far, so good. Miss Lonely Hearts, your humble instructor, approves. Human connection, love, romance, there is nothing wrong with these yearnings. Now, you want to become acquainted with a woman you see in public. The first thing you need to understand is that women are dealing with a set of challenges and concerns that are strange to you, a man. To begin with, we would rather not be killed or otherwise violently assaulted. Well, if we actually look at the statistics, we would see that men are actually the people who receive a lot more violence than women for virtually every single type of violence except for rape and domestic violence, which are actually a lot more even than people would lead us to believe. And if I can be bothered, I may well link to some of those studies down in the description box. Let's continue. But wait, I don't want that either. Well, no. Do you think but do you think about it all the time? Is preventing violent assault or murder part of your daily routine, rather than merely something you do when you venture into war zones? Now, of course, I was somewhat sceptical of the claim that women think about violence all of the time. So I decided to ask 4 sceptical women who were in the same demographic as her in that respect, and all of them said, no, that's completely insane, I'm not a lunatic, I don't hate men, so I don't think like that. And no, I do not think that we as a society should have to pander to the insane delusions of people who see threats at every turn. I don't think that I should have to avoid people and move out the way of them, just because they have, just because they might have a mental disorder like this woman does. Because for women it is. When I go on a date, I always leave a man's full name and contact information written next to my computer monitor. This is so the cops can find my body if I go missing. So next to the computer monitor, I assume she's on the computer before this happens, so internet dating possibly there. Absolutely nothing wrong with internet dating, provided you do it safely. And I actually do the same fucking thing as her. I will let people know when I'm going on a date if I'm doing internet dating. So, because of course there could be someone who wants to fucking kidnap me or anything. It's not very likely at all. I've met around 30 women through online dating, all of which have been exactly who they said they were. Some of them have been a little bit mental, but that's to be expected. They're all who they said they were. None of them have tried to attack me or anything like that. And from most of the women I've met, none of them have had any particularly bad experiences in that regard. They met guys who they consider to be creepy, but they haven't felt physically threatened through encounters. So this is so the cops can find my body if I go missing. I mean, that is extremely fucking rare that something like that happens. Let's just get that out of the way. My best friend will call or email me the next morning, and I must answer or call or email before noonish, or she'll begin to worry. If she doesn't hear from me by 3 or so, she'll call the police. Possibly a little bit over precautious there, but fine. I don't really have too much of a problem with that. My activities after dark are curtailed. Unless I'm in a densely occupied, well-lit space, I won't go out alone. This is when I think that it gets a little bit worrying. When you're telling people that they should be scared, that they should be that they should not go out because of fear of getting attacked. I mean, that's just insane. As I've mentioned, men get attacked 2 to 3 times more often than women. I'm not talking about rape. I'm talking about being attacked. I'm talking about being mugged or assaulted on the street by a stranger. Even then, I prefer to have a friend or 2 or my dogs with me. Do you follow these rules? I mean, this is someone who does jujitsu as well. You know, this is a woman who's taught herself to defend, how to defend herself, and she's that scared of going out alone, even though statistically men are a lot more likely to be assaulted than women. You know, that's what you call delusional. So when you, a stranger, approach me, I have to ask myself, will this man rape me? Really? Okay, so I'll be linking to my good friend Broken Mech down below. He did a video talking about the chances that a woman will actually be raped. And you know, to sum it up, women in the high-risk groups, that's the 12 to 30-year-old range, have about a 1 in 1,000 chance of being raped by a stranger in any given year. Now let's assume that the average person meets 1,000 strangers a year, and that's an extremely conservative number I've given there. That's 3 people a day. That means that the chance of a random man approaching you, going to rape you, is 1 in 1 million. It's a 0.0001% chance that you're going to be raped by some random by any given random person who approaches you. To ask yourself, will this person rape me at this point, is fucking insane. Do you think I'm overreacting? Yes, 1 in every 6 American women will be sexually assaulted in her lifetime. Now those figures have been dissected, and that is sexual assault, and that is over a lifetime, and even then those statistics, that figure is massively blown out of proportion. Yeah, you're going from being sexually, badly done study showing being sexually assaulted at some point over your lifetime to this random stranger right here in front of me is going to rape me. And yeah, that is just insane. God damn it. And it's also worth mentioning that over 70% of rapes and sexual assaults are done by someone the person knows. So that also massively reduces the figure to about a quarter of what it would have been otherwise. Okay. I bet you didn't think you know any rapists, but consider the sheer number of rapes that must occur. These rapes are not all committed by Philip Gardio, Brian David Mitchell, or other members of the Brotherhood of Scary Hair or Homemade Religion. While you may assume that none of the men you know are rapists, I can assure you that at least one is. Maybe, depends what you say, what you're counting as actually knowing someone in that regard. Consider if every rapist commits an average of 10 rapes, horrifying number I know, then the concentration of rapists in the population is a little over 1 in 60. Well, at least she isn't saying 1 in 6 men are rapists. But as I said, that figure includes all forms of sexual assault as well, and those figures are, kind of blown out of proportion a bit. So no, that's considerably lower than that figure. And then you also consider, so yeah, she is just wrong. This means that 4 in my graduating class in high school, 1 among my co-workers, 1 in the subway car at rush hour, 11 who work out at my gym. How do I know that you, the nice guy, wants nothing more than companionship and true love, are not the rapist? Because we don't just go around assuming the worst of people. That's no sane way to live. We don't. How can you live? How do you even live with yourself thinking that way? How can you just go around assuming the worst of people automatically? You know, there's the case of, you know, taking precautions, and, you know, if someone wants to go back home with you, for example, if they've said that to you, that's when you then make the judgment call of, do I trust this person enough to want to go back with him? You know, is what this person is offering me worth the potential risk? And that's when you do a whole risk assessment thing. You don't just look at a random person and go, oh, he might be a rapist, better back off. When you approach me in public, you are Schrodinger's rapist. Now, I think Schrodinger would be pretty pissed off with this post. I think when it comes to quantum theory, there's a lot of fucking quackery which is done in its name, and this is probably the most fucking vile. You may or may not be a man who would commit rape. I wouldn't know for sure unless you start sexually assaulting me. I can't see inside your head, I don't know your intentions. If you expect me to trust you or accept you at face value as a nice sort of guy, you're not only failing to respect my reasonable caution, but you're being cavalier in my personal safety. I mean, I think the right thing to do is, you know, if you find yourself accidentally approaching this woman, just walk away, find someone who isn't so fucking mental. I mean, you know, we should just, you know, when there's a 1 in a million chance that this guy might rape you there and then you've got to you know, I think the right thing to do would be to show him respect until he shows that you should actually not give him respect, not do it the other way around. How can you live with this level of fear? How can you preach to other people to live under this level of fear? This is my problem with victim feminism. I mean, that pretty much sums it up. Fortunately, you're a good guy. We've already established that. Now you're aware that there's a problem. You're going to go out of your way to fix it, and to make the women with whom you interact feel as safe as possible. To begin with, you must accept I set my own risk tolerance. Yeah, well, of course. You're your own person. I don't think anyone sane is arguing otherwise. When you approach me, I will begin to evaluate the possibility you will do me harm. I think everybody does that automatically. And, you know, most people will go with, this person is not trying to harm me, until the person shows that they're trying to harm them or gives them any reason to be suspicious. And that possibility is never zero. There's also a greater than zero chance that you're going to try to rape me, or shove a knife in me, or call the cops and say I raped you. But, you know, as a good person, I try to assume that people aren't going to immediately try to harm me. For some women, particularly women who have been victims of violent assault at any level of risk is unacceptable. What are you talking about as violent assault? I've had people try to violently assault me, and, you know, it kind of shakes you up for a little while, but you don't then go around and assume everyone's going to try and attack you. Like, oh, I'm really worried. You know, this person over there might try to attack me. You know, if they cross the road near me, I'm going to fucking run for it. That's mental. Those women who do not want to be approached, no matter how nice you are or how much you like to date. Hang on, let's start again. Those women do not want to be approached, no matter how nice you are, no matter how much you'd like to date them. Okay, that's their right. Yeah, they might not want to be approached, but they do not have the right to not be offended. You know, they can say, they can tell the guy, I'm not interested. For them to then pepper spray a man, which you seem to think's okay, that's going too fucking far unless the man has tried to fucking assault her. Don't get pissy about it. No, I will get pissy when you're basically advocating for violence. Women are under no obligation to hear your sales pitch before deciding they are not in the market to buy. Well, of course, and they can just say, not interested, go away. The second point, you must be aware of what signals you are sending by your appearance and the environment. We are not going to be paying close attention to your appearance, and we are going to be paying close attention to your appearance and behaviour and matching those signs to our ideas of threat. So yeah, bear in mind, this post is a guy's guide to not being maced. What this person is saying is that if you look a certain way, you deserve to get maced, and that is victim blaming. If I was to say that that being scantily clad makes you more likely to be raped, you'd be going fucking mental right now. This means that some men should never approach strange women in public. I try not to approach strange women. I try to approach women who I don't think are strange, at least in a way which I think's bad. But yeah, I mean, you're telling men what to do. You're saying that because you're unlikely to get a positive response, you don't have the right to approach women. If you approach a woman, that person is going to think you're going to rape them and is going to mace you in the face, and they have the right to do that before you pose any threat other than the way you look. Specifically, if you have unusual standards of personal cleanliness, or cleanliness, as she's written, if you're the prophet of your own religion, or if you have tattoos of gang symbols or Technicolor cockroaches over your face and neck, you are just never going to get a good response approaching a woman in the cold. Now, I know guys who have those kind of traits, sort of. They do occasionally get positive responses, hard as that may be to believe. God damn it. That doesn't mean you're doomed to a life of solitude, but I suggest you start with internet dating, where you can put your unusual traits out there and find a woman who will appreciate them. Are you wearing a t-shirt making a rape joke? Not a good choice. Not in general, and definitely not when approaching a strange woman. I've never seen a person wearing a t-shirt with a rape joke. I'm not saying that they don't exist. I'm just saying I've never seen them, and, you know, that probably means they're pretty fucking rare. And, you know, there are actually women who do laugh at rape jokes, believe it or not. Pay attention to the environment, look around, are you in a dark alley? And then you should probably ought not to approach a woman and try to strike up a conversation. The same applies if you're alone with a woman in most public places. If the public place is a closed area, subway, car, elevator, a bus, even a crowded one, you may not realise that a woman's ability to flee in case of threat is limited. I can sort of understand that to some degree. If you just jump out and corner someone, saying that, you know, a crowded bus is a dangerous place because it stops the woman's ability to flee. So you don't think that any of the people on board are going to do something if a guy tries to rape a woman on a bus. You think that if a man rapes a woman on a bus in front of 200 people, no one's going to step in and do something. You really do have a very, very low opinion on humanity. I thought I did, but you take it to another fucking level there. Ask yourself, if I were dangerous, would this woman be safe in a space with me? If the answer is no, then it isn't appropriate to approach her. The thing is, though, you know, using myself as an example, I'm 6'4", I can bench press over 200 pounds, I can run faster than 99% of police could wearing their kit. If I was violent, if I wanted to cause someone harm, the average woman, it wouldn't matter where they were. It would make no difference. They'd be dead in 5 seconds. But I'm not that sort of guy. It doesn't matter where you. So yeah, saying would this person be safe? Well, if the person wanted to do them harm, they could do harm regardless of where they are. On the other hand, if you're both at church accompanied by mothers and long-time best friends, the woman is as close as it comes to safe. This is to say, still not 100% safe, but the odds are pretty good. Well, yeah. Continuing. Third point, women are communicating all the time. Learn to understand and respect women's communication of you. I think you should learn to show people respect until they show you otherwise. I mean, the probability that a woman is going to lie is greater than the probability that a random man is going to rape you. 1 in a million men you meet on the street will rape you, as a rough estimate of the statistics. A greater than 1 in a million statements made by a woman is a lie. I mean, I don't think that's controversial to say that that more than 1 in a million things said by a woman is a lie. I mean, that really shouldn't be a controversial statement. So you're saying that I should respect a woman's communications, but you should not respect you should not respect a man enough to think you're safe with him. You want to say hi to the cute girl on the subway. How will she react? Fortunately, I can tell you with some certainty because she's already sending messages to you. Yeah, because you speak for all women here, clearly. Looking out the window, reading a book, working on computer, arms folded across chest, body away from you, do not disturb. Oh, no, not necessarily. I have struck up random conversations with people who've been reading, might be a newspaper or something like that, in a cafe. Conversations have gone very well a lot of the time. Women don't just sit there in cafes like, I'm going to order something at the cafe, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just look at that guy and smile at him until he comes over. No, that's not the way it generally works. Right, where were we? A compliment is not always a reason for women to smile and say thank you. No, it's not. I mean, I think that, that's kind of the polite thing to do. Someone gives you a compliment, thank you. That's what I, as a man, do, generally. And I think women should kind of do the same. I mean, if it's quite obvious that the guy's trying to hit on her, the woman should say, thank you, but I'm not interested. I mean, showing a bit of respect, not that hard, really. You're a threat, remember? Well, yes, a 1 in a million chance of being a threat. So, a 1 in a million chance of being a threat means that people should go out of the way to not show me respect and mate me in the face. You are Schrodinger's rapist. I did not rape Schrodinger. Don't assume that whatever you have to say will win her over with charm and flattery. Believe what she's signalling and back off. So, we've already covered this, right? She thinks that men shouldn't be shown automatic respect, but women should. If you speak and she responds in a monosyllabic way without looking at you, she's saying, I don't want to be rude, but please leave me alone. Yep, fair enough. You don't know why. It could be, please leave me alone because I'm memorising Beowulf. because that's what people do now, it seems. It could be, please leave me alone because you're a scary, scary man with breath like a water buffalo. It could be, please leave me alone because I'm planning my assassination of a major geopolitical figure. I'll have to kill you if you're unable to. Have to kill you if you're able to recognise me and blow my cover. That's her attempt at humour, by the way. Carrying on. On the other hand, if she is turned towards you, making eye contact, and she responds in a friendly and talkative manner when you speak to her, you are getting a green light. You can continue the conversation until you start getting signals to back off. Well, yeah, fair enough, but as I've said, most women aren't there just staring at you, waiting for you to approach them. That's not the way that these things usually work. The fourth point, if you fail to respect what women say, you label yourself as a problem. I guess I'm a problem then because I disagree with you, bitch. There's a man with whom I went out on a single date, afternoon to coffee, for 1 hour by the clock on July 25th. In the 2 days before the date, he sent me about 15 emails scolding me for non-responsiveness. I emailed him back saying, look, this is a disproportionate response to a single date. You are making me uncomfortable. Do not contact me again. It's now October 7th. Does this man still email? Yeah, he does, about every 2 weeks. Yeah, women do that too. There's women who do become obsessive stalkers as well as men. That doesn't mean I'm going to automatically assume that a random female stranger on the street is going to act like that. When you make your risk assessment there is before you give him your phone number or your email. You think, does this person seem trustworthy enough for me to send my email or phone number to them? You don't just assume a random person is that way before they even speak to you. This man scores higher on the threat scale than the man with cockroach tattoo, who after all is guilty of nothing more than terrifying bad taste. Glad you kind of agree with that. You see, Mr. Email has made it clear that he ignores what I say when he wants something from me. Now, I don't know if he's an actual rapist, and I sincerely hope he's not. I would say that guy is kind of not respecting your boundaries. I'd probably say he's just extremely socially awkward and very desperate if he has to try to get your attention. But he is certainly Schrodinger's rapist, and this particular Schrodinger's rapist has a probability ratio greater than 1 in 60. Because a man who ignores a woman's no in a non-sexual setting is more likely to ignore no in a sexual setting as well. Now, I've already explained why the 1 in 60 statistic would be false based on your own estimates. You could well say that he has a greater than 1 in 60 chance of being someone who sexually assaults, but that's not the same thing as saying he's got a 1 in 60. He's got a greater than 1 in 60 chance of being a rapist. Now, equating the two things there, I think, is actually pretty fucking insulting to someone who is actually a victim of rape. Quantum theory is quite heavily based on statistical analysis. So that's another reason why I think Schrodinger would be pretty pissed off with what you're writing. So, if you speak to a woman who is otherwise occupied, you're sending a subtle message. It is that your desire to interact trumps her right to be left alone. Yeah, your right to initiate a conversation does trump their right to be left alone. If they say, I don't want to talk right now, then you are sending a message that you think you have more rights than them. But you should be able to start the conversation. If we lived in a world, if we lived in some perfect feminist utopia which you want to live in, then where that happens, where people can never start a conversation unless the other person is smiling and looking at them. You'd then get people like you who are then going to complain about people who are smiling and looking at them. So yeah, you do have the right to start a conversation with them, and then the other person should say, no, I'm not interested. That's the way it should work there. So, if you speak to a woman who's, hang on, I've already read that part. Let's see. If you pursue a conversation when she's tried to cut you off, you send a message. Yeah, okay, that bit, fine, but you have the right to initiate the conversation. I read that bit. For women who are watching you very closely to determine how much of a threat you are, this is an important piece of data. The fifth and last point, don't rape. Nor should you commit these similar but less severe offences. Don't assault, don't rope, don't constrain, don't brandish, don't expose yourself, don't threaten with physical violence, don't threaten with sexual violence. Well, thank you, Captain Obvious there. You really, the statement that women are told not to be raped, men should be told not to rape, is fucking retarded. By definition, rape is someone who is ignoring the fact that the other person isn't consenting. So, if someone says no, and they do it anyway, because they're a rapist, surely they're going to ignore when someone says, don't rape me. Surely that's what happens, when someone's being raped and someone says, no, don't rape me, and they carry on raping. Surely that's what's kind of happening there. To tell people not to rape is kind of fucking redundant there. We all know that any sane person knows that it's bad. It's kind of illegal anyway, so, buying into this whole rape culture thing is just fucking retarded. Shouldn't this go without saying? Of course it should. Well, yeah, exactly, of course it should. So telling them not to do it isn't going to change anything. Sadly, this is not the world that I live in. You may be beginning to realise that it's not the world you live in either. So yeah, she's basically arguing for the whole rape culture, the thing again there. And 1 in 6 women, according to the statistic she brought up, has been raped or sexually assaulted. It's a terribly misleading figure. I could say that 50% of people are men or octopus men. And that figure would be accurate. That doesn't say 50% of people are octopus men. It's mind-blowing how badly they take those sort of statistics out of context. And yeah, so let's just say 1 in 20 women are raped during their lifetime. Saying that something which happens to 5% of the population once in their lifetime is indicative of a culture being based around that is completely nonsensical. And yeah, even 1 rape is 1 rape too many, 1 sexual assault is 1 sexual assault too many, but this is just being blown out of all proportion. So if you've made it this far through this clearly misogynistic rant, congratulations. Please remember to comment, rate, subscribe, and favourite my videos. It's a good way of getting more exposure. And as I said at the beginning, I'd quite like to have video responses from people writing romantic literature in the style you'd expect from the person who wrote this article. I think that would be quite a funny tag. So please leave those as video responses. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.